Hey, Shalom Akim Shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone and Ruwell. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noah's in the gospel abroad, lifting up the banner of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. Brothers, man. It's a new show on Netflix called Painkillers. All right. That deals with basically the opiate crisis going all the way back into like the 80s, 90s, early 2000s about this particular family in which they were all Amalekites, by the way. This particular family that was making billions of dollars off opioid addictions. I'm not going to give away a movie, okay, but I recommend it. All you brothers watch this movie because you had this lady, this Jake woman here by the name of Edie Flowers. She was basically like a United States attorney general, like attorney general's office, and she was basically putting together an investigative report, seeing how the hell these people were becoming addictive on this particular drug, and how did it make it through the FDA approval, which they started to investigate this family, but they had shitty luck doing it because when you are the elites, you pay people off, you set up your own doctors, and you give people a nice salary to play ball with you, which they really should have investigated the FDA, because the Food and Drug Administration, which is another globalist company, which is not even really a entity of the United States. All these things are like literally privately owned, if I'm not mistaken, right along with the Federal Reserve. But basically, long story short, it was a documentary about how Esau got rich off drugs. Basically, illegal drugs under the legality factors, man. To the point that once your particular medication gets approved through the Federal and Drug Administration, then basically you have immunity after that. Nobody can really touch you unless it's like a epidemic, like they call it, endemic, which goes into the whole world. Okay, no, Salakia, no, not the whole world, and goes into the particular continent, because this was a crisis in America like in the 80s and 90s, and it's resurging. You know what I'm saying? When you got pan, which means the whole entire world, So basically they got rich off this, and they was under investigated by the United States Attorney General's office to bring them to justice. But I mean, even though they had some success in that, regardless of it, it's only gonna do too little good, because we know that these families, Amalek, they run the whole government. They're above the government, and this is why the main guy, this guy here, Matthew Broderick, which I think the movie I remember he played in like Inspector Gadget, like in the 90s. I knew that because I was a big fan of that movie as a kid. But basically, long story short, he wasn't really worried about it, because he's like, look, man, really, we're above the law. And they were all Amalekites, man. Okay, when the scriptures goes into Amalek, and it goes about how he's the chief of families, okay, and the house of the wicked, the synagogue, and this is these people, But this is a very good documentary. I'm like on the last, it's like 6 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. I'm on the last episode, and I kind of binge watched that shit last night. I watched like the whole thing yesterday because it showed you the diabolical nature of Esau. How he don't give a fuck about who he hurts. And what really tripped me up about the whole thing is the fact they made such a public outcry about it, because it's affecting you goddamn devils. Well, who gives a shit? Good for you. Because this is the curses. Remember, we went through it too. We went through drug. Well, Jake is still on drugs, man. But we went through all types of being disenfranchised since we got off the fucking banana boat, man. So now all of a sudden it's a problem. You eating my son Joey, he died from opioids, motherfucker. My uncle Charles, nigga, he was a victim of crack cocaine and heroin, all because your fucking federal agents put that shit on the streets. And like the lady, Miss Edie Flowers, she was funny as hell. I ain't gonna cap. She was kind of vexing my spirit, but you know what? This is what happens when a black woman ain't got no man, no family, no husband. You know what I'm saying? Nobody really wants her. She puts all that time into her job, and she was big on playing Tomb Raider and shit. But she was kind of cracking me up though, because she was like, wait a minute, man. How the hell, because you so-called passed a legal drug through the government to make it legal, and it's killing millions of people by the second, but yet you lock up street dealers and let them rot in prison for the same shit you're doing. And hey, she had an excellent point, because believe it or not, these corporations, these particular pharmakia centers, I'll say it that way, because pharmakia goes into witchcraft. It's all witchcraft. And I mean, the way that they was trying to coerce the people into buying, bro, I mean, they set up, man, they drug dealers was so fucking cold, bro. Like, he had a young bitch that went in the doctor's office and he basically cut her ass. He said, get the fuck out of my office, man. You're prescribing a level 2 narcotic to people, and you said that it's not highly addictive. He said, where the hell do you get your information from? But the crazy part about it is they were just selling the service. No different than a fucking street dealer. So it's the same goddamn thing. The people that work in these pharmacies and shit like that, doctors are like they're like the top level street dealers, man. Because they make money off those motherfucking I would say I'm not gonna say you know what, I'm gonna say subscriptions. I'll say it that way. You know what I'm saying? But they make money off that stuff, man. So they're big time drug dealers. But the fact about it is, because they got a lab coat and a medical license to sell drugs, all of a sudden, you know, they can get away with it. But it ain't no different from the nigga Lowski or the nigga Kevo or Greedy on a street corner. You know, and word of advice for you stupid ass drug dealers out there, if you want to sell your drugs so-called legally, then nigga, become a pharmacist. Go get certified, go to school, link up with Big Pharma or some shit, or one of these corporations, and make your millions that way. That way you keep your dumb ass out of jail, because if you're working for a government entity or whatever, you will have immunity for doing illegal shit. So that's a note to you hustling niggas out there that want to be a street pharmacist. Once you go do it the so-called legal route, because it's all fucking illegal any goddamn way, you know. But this is a damn good show. I encourage brothers to watch it. I enjoyed it. It was funny to me. But Esau showed you some high-level witchcraft, man. You know. But anyway, let's go to the book of Job 15, and I'm gonna start at verses 28. It says, he should not be rich, neither shall his substance continue, neither shall he prolong the perfection thereof upon the earth. And that perfection is his new world order. Okay, because like in everything that we're seeing happening on a global scale, from the nations aligning with the BRICS nations and NATO and EU getting ready to drop America from the bandwagon, into all the economic woes we're seeing, from the geopolitics to the institution of the CBDCs to this new bullshit they're getting ready to put on us again. It's all gearing up to set up the NWO. Okay, but it's gonna fail. It says he should not depart out of darkness, and the flame should drop his branches. And what's the flame? The nuclear missiles, man. Because that's gonna put a third, like the scriptures say, through these plagues was a third part of mankind slayed, and a third part of man is talking about Esau, Edom. It says, and by the breath of his mouth he should go away, because he's going to be chased out of earth. The scriptures say he's going to be chased out of the earth like a dream, man. So we ain't going to have any Edomites ruling in the kingdom of heaven. They're going to be so insignificant during the slavery period, to the point when we finally destroy them, it's going to be just like, wow, who the hell is Esau? It's going to be books written about him, you know, the scary nations. But other than that, man, he's going to be done away with. You see what I'm saying? Because what is the ultimate judgment for a witch or a sorcerer? Mainly the Barnum. Okay, and Esau, Edom, they're a nation of witches, sorcerers, soothsayers, astrologers. They're witches. And that whole family that was behind that crisis in that movie, and it's based on a true story, by the way. But of course, for dramatic, or what do you, dramatization, or however you pronounce it, for dramatic purposes, I say it that way. Dramatization purposes. Basically, they had to change some names around to protect quote unquote people. But why would you protect people that allegedly destroyed your people? And not allegedly, they did destroy your people. But, you know, like I said, hey, that's your problem. Shit, you know, that's your issue. And this is why you brothers out there, man, stay away from these goddamn hospitals if you can. You know what I mean? Get your blood work or get your checkups and stuff like that to see what's going on. But other than that, if it's not a real serious procedure, stay the hell out these hospitals, because, hey, first thing they try to do is get you hooked on some shit that you can't get off. Like, I remember when I got and the Lord is so cold, proves he's with us. It's so funny, half the shit you don't know you're taking. You know, they prescribe you oxycodone, man, the hydro, what is it called? What's the shit called? Yeah, that's the legal heroin, basically. oxy something, and I'm trying not to really get, you know what I'm saying, flagged by the algorithm, so I'm kind of mixing things up. But I remember when I got my wisdom, I got all 4 of my wisdom teeth pulled at once, like 3 years ago, and they prescribed me one of them fucking pills, man. I went in there, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm like, what is? They said it's a narcotic. It's between 4 and 35 milligrams. I said, oh shit. And it's for quote unquote pain, but people get hooked on that shit. And this is why they tell you, hey, if you ain't gonna use the medicine, bring it back to a center so we can dispose of it. You know what I'm saying? But when I first, and to show you that the spirit is so cold, I took one. I didn't even know what the fuck I was taking, but I took one and my body instantly rejected. Spirit said, oh no. Like I took that, I felt like shit. And I told the doctor, I was like, man, I called the dentist. I'm like, look, bro, I'm like, I can't take this. I'm like, what the fuck did you prescribe me? I'm like, he said it's a narcotic. I'm not taking this. And I took one and I felt like I was getting ready to throw up. So the spirit didn't even have me to mess with it. I was just popping them 850 milligram ibuprofens, man. Because, you know, they give you the amoxicillin for any infection, you know, which is basically an antibiotic. And then they give you the painkillers. I was taking them 850 milligram joints for my teeth. You know, like the painkillers, man. It was like ibuprofen. Because that other shit they gave me, I was like, nah, I can't take it. And the spirit didn't have me to touch none of it. My body instantly rejected it. And then the documentary come out 3 years later that people are getting hooked on that shit. So I'm like, hey, call Allah Yahweh Shimi Hawashai, man. But it says, let him not that is deceived trust in vanity. For vanity should be his recompense. And it should be an accomplished before his time. And his wicked branches should not be green. His branch should not be green, meaning he's not going to prosper. It says he shall shake off his unripe grape as the vine and should cast off his flower as the olive. And the congregation of hypocrites should be desolate. And that's these people. The congregation of hypocrites is these Edomites, man. Okay, these Edomites. Okay, the so-called white man, which, like I said, this guy and his family, bro, that was literally the council of the wicked. They had their little councils in there. They was bumping heads. They was saying, well, look, it's about this and that. One guy was trying to tell him, like, look, we going to get popped off. This guy, man, the main guy, he wasn't even worried about it. You know, but these were definitely Amalekites, man. And, bro, they didn't give a shit about who they was hurting. It was all about the money and control of them. They didn't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? Because dude's father was I believe he was like a psychiatrist or something like that. And then basically he came up with a medicine to eliminate pain, but it was killing people to the point that when they found out who he was, I believe they let his ass drop dead from a heart attack. They ain't even try to save him. He knew what was going on with his heart and everything. He like, man, nah, man, this is what's going on. They let his ass die after the EKG, you know. But regardless of it, man, these people are inherently wicked. And this is why we tell you, Jakes, be careful with these men, with these Edomites. And it says, for the congregation of the hypocrites should be desolate, and fire should consume the tabernacles of the bribery, and they conceive mischief and bring forth vanity in their belly prepared deceit. Because he kept saying, oh, well, it works. And it's not the fact that it didn't work, because the people that was getting hooked on it, it helped their pain, but it made them addicted to the point people wasn't taking it because they was in pain. They took it because they basically built up so much of a tolerance to the point when they went through withdrawals, their bodies were literally breaking down on them, and they were dying from the shit, man. To the point they weren't even taking it from pain, man. They like, dudes, like, and the reason why how they made it legal, so to speak, because it didn't have a high mortality rate. Like, it wasn't killing the rats that they tested on. So technically it works because Esau, Edom, he comes up with blanket terms or gray areas that allow him to push certain legislation, okay, where it don't kill people, so therefore it works. But shit, you've been better off dead. You've been better off this drug killing you on the spot, because the type of withdrawals and the type of things you go through to get this shit, that's a fate worse than death when you suffering in the body, man. Okay, matter of fact, let's get that real quick. Let's get that in Sirach. I'll come back to this. Health gold. This is the book of Sirach 30, and I'm gonna start at verses 14. It says, better is the poor being sound and strong of constitution than a rich man that is afflicted in his body, man. Okay, so hey, you afflicted in your body. That's one of the worst curses you can have on you when you sick, because you don't know the outcome. You don't know if you're gonna heal, and sometimes heal is a slow, rigorous process, or you don't know if you're gonna die. That's why a lot of people that's been sick for 20, 30 years, they're like, look, man, just pull the fucking plug. I'm ready to go. All right. It says health and good body, or health and good estate of body, are above all gold, and a strong body above offended wealth. So, hey, you can be the poorest person in the world with just your adequate health care and whatever you need. But if you got a strong body, you feel better. Like having a strong body, you're so much in a better spirit. Okay. You're more receptive. You know what I'm saying? You're more intricate. You're more involved. You're more aware. And you have the energy to do things, and you look forward to going out there and taking care of your business, versus a person that's sick. You don't want to live no more. That's why it says here, there's no riches above a sound body, and no joy above the joy of a heart. But death is better than a bitter life or continued sicknesses, man. Okay? Death is better than a bitter life or continued sicknesses. So you've been better off just dying from the shit on the spot, versus them totally just keeping you in a shell, so to speak, while you going through all these withdrawals. That's wickedness, man. And Esau Edom, he's a goddamn devil, man. This is why we tell you, brothers, man, this man is the devil, and he has to pay for what he's done. All right. So this is the book of Job 14. Book of Job 14, and I'm gonna start at verses 5. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. So, hey, he's set up to go down at a specified time, date, month, and year. But those years and days and months are with Yahweh, the Most High, our Father. Even Yahweh Shai don't know when his devil is going down. But you better believe he's going down. All right? The book of Job 13 and 4 says, but ye are forgers of lies. Ye are all physicians of no value, man. Okay? No value. Because these devils had the audacity to call themselves doctors. Doctor such and such. And these were self-appointed doctors. Experiment with some shit. So I guess you could call a typical street pharmacist. I could say, hey, I could just Dr. Kevo, Dr. Mook or some shit, man. Dr. CJ. Because technically, I guess he's a doctor because he's concocting poisons, right? Which doctor means to falsify. And this is the chief house of Amalek. They were definitely Amalekites. And they made the effort to show you that shit, man. And then he had a whole panel of doctors that they coerced and hired. But these are definitely Amalekites, man. Look at Amalek. Oh, man, Esau, you got a lot to pay for, bro. But yeah, this is the chief house of Esau right here, man. This is the reason why the motherfuckers was untouchable. They the one that control your government. That's why the dude wasn't worried about it. Like, look, I don't give a shit. He said, look, man, we gonna still push it. He said, we're not making no settlements. We're not saying it don't work. Everybody in the family was telling his ass, like, look, man, this shit is fucking people up. What you want to do? You know what I'm saying? He like, look, we ain't conceding a damn thing. We not doing nothing. We sticking behind it, and we gonna blame the fiends. He said, blame the people that's abusing this shit. How the hell you gonna create something to get people hooked, and it's designed to get people hooked to keep you rich, but all of a sudden they get hooked, now you blaming them? And it's a whole fucking Ponzi scheme, man, because even the company I work for, they got this whole narc shit and all this other dumb shit, all because these particular companies, these people like this, they fuck up people. They put people in a trick bag. You know what I'm saying? Slanging doogie. That's a term they use for heroin in the 80s in Harlem. Call it doogie. They was out there slanging doogie. I mean, they had bad bitches out there slanging it because they was addicted to it. You know what I'm saying? And one girl got a conscience, and she was like, man, I'm exposing this shit. Because the doctor cut her ass like, look, man, you ain't shit. You're dumb. And that makes you even more dangerous because you're young and you dumb. You don't know what you're talking about. Kicked her ass out the office, man. But basically, man, this is why you have all these so-called outreach programs. You have all these particular shelters, these drug shelters, because they've been caught up in these scandals. So they was like, well, look, man, in order to keep hush, we'll let y'all sell y'all shit at a lower dosage, but y'all got to put out at least 15, 20 millions in these inner cities to make it seem like we're trying to get these people clean. So it's basically federal funding. And they got that to throw away. That's all insurance. So they like, look, man, here, we ain't coming out of our pocket with this shit. So it's all a fucking scam, man. And it makes you question the logistics of your jobs, man. And this is the reason why I'm in conflict with what I'm doing now. You know, I'm like, I'm gonna have to transfer because I refuse to let my integrity be compromised for a bunch of people that's pretending to help our people and they're not. You know, I'm gonna have a long talk with my supervisor tomorrow. I'm like, look, if you don't give me a transfer out of this department to something more probable, then I'm gonna put in my 2-week notice because I'm not doing this shit no more. You know what I'm saying? And because we coming to the time now, they want us to do outreach to promote people to get, you know, the juice and all this other shit. And I told her straightforward when I got hired, I told her straightforward, I said, look, I'm not with that. I said, I'm not telling people to go get shit. I'm like, I'm more of a holistic approach. Well, if it ain't alone and CD such and such, I'm like, well, I don't want to agree with that. So, I mean, you can either hire me or fire me. And the Lord made it so good because he put me in this position because it's mainly remote work because I was going through some gut issues and some inflammation in my lower back causing my foot to be fucked up. So for a couple of months. So, you know, the Lord put me in a position to kind of get my health back on top tip shape. You know what I'm saying? And it worked out for me. But now, you know, I'm back up and running. It's probably time for me to do other things now. You know, easy. I mean, it really ain't got to do because they don't even know they don't even understand the program. It's something new. So we kind of came in and built it up. But, you know, they're not going to make any changes with that, which they're not. You know, I'm just one man. I can't change a corporation. I'm not going to try to, but I can remove myself for something I don't agree with. And I've been telling her this since I've been there. I'm like, look, I ain't feeling this shit. And she always trying to use a little magic to try to reel me in. I said, this shit ain't going to work. So I don't give a fuck how good shit you're talking. I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm not promoting people to go do things. It's just not going to happen. So I used it to benefit me, and now it's time to fucking move on. She don't like it, then fucking fire me. I don't give a fuck. Shit, this place is getting ready to fall anyway, so it ain't that goddamn deep. But you got people that will literally compromise themselves to have a fucking job. Like, fuck this shit. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, little history there, Salakia. But this is my next precept. This is the book of Psalms 64, and I'm going to start at verses. Let's start at verses 2. It says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the instruction or insurrection of the workers of iniquity. Okay, and this is nothing more than Amalek. Okay, all the house of Edom, but mainly the chief house of Amalek, the elites. Okay, they own people is hooked on it, and this is the reason why they're making such a big deal about it now. Fuck y'all, man. Good. I pray more you damn devils drop dead from the fucking medications you've been overtaking. Now you know what the fuck we've been going through our whole entire existence under you. I feel bad for the motherfuckers, man. You, Jake, shouldn't feel bad because, hey, when the shoe was on the other foot, they looked and spat at you, man. Now, all of a sudden, since they the new black people, now they want to act like they just so empathetic of our fuck you, man. Give a shit about you goddamn Edomites, man. The hell to well, every last one of you, and the hell to the niggas that think and act like you. Straight up, man. Okay, it says, who wet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. It says that they may shoot in secret at the perfect, and suddenly they do shoot at him and fear not. But see, this whole attack was set up to hit Jake and to eliminate Jake, but it backfired on him, man. That's why the Lord said, surely would you render me a recompense? Surely but slowly I will return your recompense upon your own head. And it says they encourage themselves in an evil matter, and they commune of laying snares privately, saying, who shall see them? Because once they had immunity through the FDA, shit, they was untouchable because technically it was legal, which shows you how corrupt this fucking system is. Here you are under and the thing of it is, and they have trusted partnerships. Like if somebody signs off something, they trust that it's healthy. They trust that it's okay. And this is why a lot of the bullshit gets passed through them, because they don't go and check it. Their scientists are very incompetent. They're not trained up. They'll hire a nigga off the street, give him a 45,000 a year salary and say, well, look, just sign whatever comes. We trust Big Pharma, this and this and this and that to do the right things, which they're not. And then they would say, well, look, man, just sign off on it. Don't research shit. But you had one guy that basically denied their ass all across the board, but they flipped him. Somehow, somewhere, they took the nigga in the hotel room, and before you know it, he was like, you know what? I'm leaving. I'm going here and there. So they probably gave him some of the doogie, probably gave his ass a fucking $1 million upfront bonus, and he left that organization. He went to work for them, but he wouldn't let them pass. They just wasn't getting past him. And this is what you support in a righteous government. you will have things like that. You will have people to fact check shit, to look into this, to look into that. That's why the scriptures say the government of a prudent man is well ordered, because if anything nefarious comes through the paperwork, you have to have people that set up to catch shit so it does not corrupt. You know what I'm saying? But when you have a corrupt society such as America, or just this Edomite government in general, you have all types of shit. You know what I'm saying? This is the reason why a lot of shit that's not good for you ends up being legal. And once it becomes legal under government mandate, then all of a sudden you have immunity from the shit. Same thing with this potion that they got out here now that all you people are getting ready to fucking die from. You see? So it's deep, man. This man is the devil. It says they encourage themselves in an evil matter, and they commune of laying snares privately, and they say, who shall see them? Right. It says they search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep, man. Okay. So, hey, call Allah Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bashim Rakakwadash. Hey, I want to get double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Blessings and salutations to the whole elect. Then with that, Shalom and a Baba Ball. Shalom.